What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the Ann Hearts podcast. Now streaming on Apple Podcasts and Spotify. So be sure to subscribe on there and listen to us that way. As well as YouTube as well. This is just a topic that we need to talk about because, it's out there and everybody's been hearing about it. And you can already guess what I'm going to say. We're going to get into the shooting that happened a few days ago in Texas. It occurred in, what's the name of the city? I forget. How do you say that?
Texas.
I forget how to say the name. I'm sorry. But it happened in the elementary school over there in Texas. And soon after it happened, you contacted me and you were saying how this deeply affected you. So with that being said, I turn it over to you, and the floor is yours.
Appreciate you, man. How's everybody doing out there, man? As you could tell in my voice, I'm kind of shaky. I got a kid, and it affected me very bad. That's why I hit you up, bro, because I was like, I broke down. When you're a parent, you could feel it. I can't imagine how they feel, because I feel like it's hitting me hard.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it didn't even happen here. I don't even know these people.
Real quick, just speaking to the mic, really.
Yeah, so other than that, I don't even know where to start, because there's so many things I want to throw out here. But I'm going to first start with, the gun laws. I agree, like, they have to just do a background check, make sure everything's good, because I think you have a right to bear your arms. But it just depends on the people what they're going through and how mature they are. I think 18 years old for a couple AR-15s is not a good thing to do.
Yeah.
Remember 18? I'm not saying we go out there and do things, but do you remember when you were that age? You weren't like where you at today.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So with that and the kids that feel so bad, shout out to you guys. My prayers are with y'all, man. The parents, the families, everybody who's been affected. I'm pretty sure a lot of people around the world. I wish I could do more, but I can just hold you guys in my heart and grieve with y'all. So, yeah, this is very emotional for me, And
yeah.
how would you think if that was like your nephew,
I can't even imagine.
You see what I'm saying?
I can't even imagine. It's seriously like it's the kind of thing that I won't even let my mind go there, because it's so heinous and it's so egregious that I don't know what I would do.
I know.
I don't know what I would personally do.
I know you, because you never been in this situation. Me either.
No.
Because everybody's got a little bit of this and that in them, but that limit of hatred and whatever how it affects you,
right,
knows what you're going to do,
So,
but can you go ahead?
As I know, there was 22 people dead, 19 of them elementary school children. And I know you have a child who is in elementary school. How old is your daughter?
She's 6 years old.
6 years old.
I cried, man. I ain't gonna lie to you. I'm a man. I'm not. People who know me know who I am and know what's up. And it's not about that. But I realize, life is too short to not be yourself and feel how you want to feel, no matter anybody, whatever they say, whoever it is that thinks bad about you or hates on you.
Yeah.
Can you imagine you a kid and you sitting in class and you coloring or you reading, and somebody comes in and they just start boom, boom, and you're a little kid and you see this and you finally eventually, like, I don't know if you can think that way, but you're next. You don't know what's going on.
You have no idea.
These guys ain't got no IDs.
Nope.
These guys ain't got no assets. They're just kids, man.
Yeah.
Children. 10 days ago, the shit that happened, it happens a lot. So I'm just saying, you kind of get immune to it. Not saying that way, but I think this is worse than that.
Oh, by far.
This is worse.
By far. Your children, they depend on you as a parent to trust that you have, their well-being in your best interest. And when you send them to school, you send them thinking that they're in a safe environment.
Exactly.
They don't know that it's gonna that when you drop them off in the morning, that's the last time they'll ever see you.
Thank you. And that's what I mean. They don't know. They're just learning and they're trusting you.
Right.
And you let them down, and the other kids seeing you let them down. Because as a parent, I don't care what they say and what people say. You need to make sure where you send them or who has them or whatever it is. I don't care what's going on.
Right.
Yeah. And I believe people out there are crazy. At one time, somebody offered me, and my wife can vouch for this. We were in Costco, and they offered to buy my daughter.
Really?
Yeah. I said, what the fuck you mean? Where's the for sale sign? I said, here. And she goes, no, hold her, because she knew I was getting ready to. I was about to, bro.
That's crazy. Was it a joke? Was he being sincere?
No, he was serious because he said it twice to me. Because he thought I was like, I
Yo,
looked at him
crazy.
and I tried to walk it off. And then he just kept on like the second time, like, you know.
Yeah.
He's not being serious. I got cash, man. I'm not playing. Like the way he said it, though, like the sarcasm. I said, oh, yeah. So I was about to knock him down. So I believe there's people out there. It could be any race, anything. But from what I heard, this kid had issues. This kid also had, like, he wasn't doing right. He was failing. This is from speculations, y'all. This is not something that, because I'm a follower on things that touch me. So I'm telling you, this is what I know and what's being out there. He also, like, the kids were making fun of him because of his clothes he would wear and just little things kids can't handle.
Right.
I think he was being passed around and with his grandma and shit like that. And there's a lot more to it, but I don't know, dude. If you know somebody's off, you need to whatever, you know. And I don't want to put no names out there.
But you know the type.
You know the type, too. Because we're around him. He's not there right now.
Yeah.
But you're around him.
Yeah.
You know what I'm talking about, right?
I know exactly what you're talking about. You know, you mentioned earlier that when you mentioned that he was a little out there. From what I heard about him, he's got a mental illness. You know, this dude was outcasted. He was lonely. He was passed around by his parents, made fun of, this and that. And a lot of people, when they hear some sort of mass shooting or whatever, and they hear about when they talk about mental illness, people get upset because it's like, no, you're letting him off too easy. But guess what? It takes somebody who's a little off to do something that crazy.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? There is a level of mental illness. And so, yeah, we talk about gun laws, this and that, but I think these issues are more deeply rooted, more in a more like societal, cultural thing. I think that when we see people and there's something a little bit off about them and it makes us feel uneasy, we need to approach these people a little bit differently. You have to have a level of empathy towards these people. You know, like too often we see somebody who's a little bit different and we treat them kind of badly. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And I always try to treat people of any background, any situation that they're in or whatever. I try to treat them with kindness because of the simple fact that, you know what, this person is a little bit out there, and if shit hits the fan, I want to be on the side of, you know what, this dude did right by me.
Mm-hmm.
I got nothing against him.
Yeah, and you're right. Me and you have a gift of that. I noticed that with people that you're around, that I see you with or whatever, you are genuine. You have your moments, or you know how to adjust when that person's not genuine. You know what I mean?
Right.
And I said, okay, I see it, and that's good because we're not prejudiced. We're not racial. That's a human person no matter what color they are.
Yeah.
That's how I see them, and I have respect for that.
Yeah. Everybody's situation is different.
Exactly.
And you have to be understanding of that.
Yes, and you have to. And you don't know what they're going through. You don't know how much they've been going through.
Right. The smallest act of kindness can go a long way for somebody. You know what I mean? Because some people just don't have that from anybody.
I know. They
literally getting beaten down emotionally by people they're supposed to be people they're supposed to trust, family members, friends, teachers, just because they're a little bit different. It's not an excuse for these heinous acts that sometimes take place, but you bring up gun laws.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think about the current gun laws in this country? Do you think that they need to be reformed? Do you think that they need to be enforced better? Or do you think that the American public should be stripped of its guns altogether?
I agree with all three. They need to be reformed. They also need to be to where there's a limit to everything that you buy. Guns are, you have a right to bear your arms. Like, I'm not against that. That's okay. I'm not a gun person,
Right.
but I believe in it. But you can't just give it to everybody just because they're at a certain age.
Right.
Like we said earlier, you don't know what they've gone through. You don't know what their intentions are.
Right.
So, yeah, that has to be fixed, man. There's more guns and cell phones on the planet than there is human.
That's true. See, it's interesting that you mentioned that. It's like I've been seeing people with the sentiment of, you know what, we need to repeal the Second Amendment. No one should have guns. Okay, but that's a lot harder. That's a lot easier said than done. Because there are so many guns already out there.
That's what I'm saying.
The irresponsibility of the arms traders, of the people who are selling the guns, they've already pumped it out. And there's so many guns out there already. If you take away the Second Amendment, the law-abiding citizen who will follow that, hand over their guns, they're put at a disadvantage when it comes to threat by firearms. Because the people who are doing these type of things, like mass shootings, they're not law-abiding citizens. They're not going to worry about laws. You know what I mean? They will find a way.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
Exactly.
In the early times when they drafted these amendments, it was because they wanted people the right to have arms, to bear arms, because of the potential threat of a government overthrow. So that the government won't overthrow them, the people can defend themselves. Now, some people are like, that's not going to happen today. You never know.
No, you don't know when they're moving on it.
You never know.
Yeah. I
So
agree.
that's one issue. But think about it like this. Say you're in your house. You gave up your guns because it's the law. You're a law-abiding citizen. Someone breaks into your house with a gun. How in the hell do you defend yourself against that?
That's what I'm saying. You're in a lose-lose situation.
Right.
So, I mean, people are going out losing and trying to fight to win. So, basically, they already know they're going to die, but I'm going to go out trying. Because if I make it, at least I can walk away from it.
Do you think that schools should have an armed guard? Every school should have an armed guard?
I think all the schools should be reformed and built like, it sucks they have to be institutionalized, but that's something I think they should do.
Right.
There should be two majors way in, one way way out, and maybe just in case if they do get by, maybe upstairs or something, and somewhere out, just have something going on.
Yeah.
The third one, but that's what I think they should do.
I kind of agree with that, to be honest. I don't think it would hurt to have at least one armed guard per school. Some people even go as far to say teachers should be trained and armed themselves. Not every teacher, but certain teachers, who are willing to take on that ultimate responsibility.
Yeah.
Because when the reality of the matter is when shit hits the fan, a lot of people freeze up.
I know.
But you know what? I think 0% survivability rate compared to whatever minuscule percentile of the survivability rate.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Like if a teacher has a gun and is trained on how to use it properly, that's just, at least there's that little bit of hope and chance that, you know what, maybe these 19 children don't die.
Yeah.
my friend was saying, you know, oh, do you think that a woman teacher would be capable of pulling that trigger? And then I said, you know what? I don't know. You know, if you compare it to a male, I don't know if it's any more likely or less likely. But like I said, at least there's that little chance. You never know. Sometimes you're just forced with you're faced with that scenario, and you have to do what you have to do for the greater good of everybody.
Yeah, I agree. You know, you don't know who you're. It's different. It's not the same. Everybody's still thinking. Those people in the White House are thinking, oh, it's still the same. Everybody has changed. You're not changing with the time.
Right.
Yeah, you're stuck in this time that you're used to doing things. And some things I agree that they do is great. But a lot of shit, you have to move with it because it's a new time, new people. Everyone's doing things differently. And you need to grow with that, you know. And then and I also was watching something about where these billionaires are trying to get together to make a one something government, I think, right? And then they're trying to like give us a footprint and see everywhere we go and what we do and just everything. And I'm not willing to give up that right. I'm telling y'all right now. So fuck
Right.
you and back off because I'm not. You know, I promise you.
You know, I wasn't gonna go there, but it's very interesting that you mentioned that, because the question that I would ask is, why might a government not want its citizens to have guns? And somebody asked me that, and I was thinking to myself, well, from a socialistic viewpoint, it's easier to forcefully implement socialism when people can't revolt in I guess in a violent way. You know what I'm trying to say? Like, I'm noticing that too with you know, I'm seeing a lot of politicization. How do you say that word? I'm seeing a lot of people politicizing this matter, and
Is it the matter for the?
people are basically saying like
Give me an example.
people are saying that, okay, this is a white supremacy issue.
Okay.
People are saying only white people do mass shootings, but honestly, that's just patently false. It's not true.
No, it's not.
You know, I've written down a lot of the major.
You had this down here?
What's that?
Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. You had that down?
Have what down?
This what what I'm talking about?
I have a lot of things down. I wrote a lot of things.
That's crazy,
you know,
bro. Like because I haven't seen anything. I swear to God.
Yeah.
Yeah, go ahead though. I'll let you. You know.
But look, I started researching mass shootings. First of all, I looked up the definition of a mass shooting. I believe mass shooting is defined as 5 or more people being affected by it, not necessarily killed.
Just hit or something.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Say 5 people got shot, but not they all survived. That's considered a mass shooting.
Yeah.
So what I've come to realize is that the mass shootings that make the mainstream headlines are typically 10 or more deaths. They look at those.
I see.
And you know, this Uvalde, Texas was the most recent. 22 dead, 12 injured. The guy's name, he was 18 years old, Salvador Ramos. He was Mexican.
Yeah.
Chicago, May 19th, 2022. 2 dead, 8 injured. This was a shooting by Jalen Sanders and Cameron Abram, 21 years old and 20 years old, both African-American individuals.
Mm-hmm.
Laguna Woods, California, May 15, 2022.
Seen that
So
one
these are all in the past 2 weeks
I
that
know.
I'm naming off.
I seen it. I know you.
1 dead, 5 injured. David Chow, 68 years old, Chinese. He came in with 2 handguns. Buffalo, New York, May 14, 2022, which was the supermarket shooting that he streamed live on Twitch. I've seen that video. I wish I hadn't, but you know, someone sent it to me.
Yeah.
It's very, very tough to watch. 10 dead, 3 injured.
I seen it too.
Peyton Gendron was his name. I believe that one was politically and racially motivated. New York, April 12, 2022. 0 people died, but 29 people were shot or like, were injured. This was Frank James. I think he was like 40 something years old, black dude. Um, he had they were saying that he had severe post traumatic stress syndrome. Um, Boulder, Colorado, back in 2021, March 22, 2021.
Damn.
10 dead, 2 injured. His name was Ahmad Al Alawahi Al Isa.
10 dead, 2 injured.
Yeah.
Well, I think I've seen. Yeah.
You know, he was believed to have mental health issues. Uh, Indianapolis, Indiana, we know about that one. There was stickers on the back of the trucks.
Yeah.
That was Brandon Scott Hole, 9 dead, 7 injured.
Yep.
He shot up a FedEx facility.
That's crazy.
I think it was a ramp facility. I think he was more of a disgruntled employee.
Yeah.
And then August 3rd, 2019, El Paso, Texas, 23 dead, 23 injured at I think it was a Walmart. Yeah, and then that was racially motivated. He didn't like Hispanic people. But I named off about, I don't know, 1, 2, 3, 4, about 8 shootings. That's not all of the mass shootings that happened within that time frame. There have been more.
So many.
The media cherry picks certain things in order to, I guess, speak on certain topics like gun control. It happens all the time, you know, but they cherry pick certain ones so that they can talk about stuff that they want to talk about. Gun control, white supremacy, blah, blah, blah.
Yes.
Controlling the narrative.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of these people, what they have in common is they have mental health issues. So I think when it comes to preventing these sort of attacks, you need to go beyond the gun laws. We need to go into a cultural, societal. We need to delve deeper into that. We need to look at, okay, what's driving people to do these sort of things. I think it has a lot to do with the narrative that's put out there, the culture. You know, there's such a divisive narrative put out by mainstream media that people.
Well, you just said it right there. The mainstream media.
Yeah.
That's what people do, bro. That's what the people. They say COVID. That's how they're the way they are, playing gun games all the time and just being segregated and being. This is what these kids are saying. These mass murder kids.
Right.
Yeah, it was on the news. I was looking at it. I looked it up. I said, "Oh, okay." Went to another side. I said, "Okay, this is true." So, I don't know. I just think that COVID messed a lot of people up. The ones that are not. We were busy all year, so we didn't feel those effects. But I can imagine being all the time in the house. It's like being in jail.
Yeah, the psychological toll it took on people.
Mm-hmm.
You know, another thing that I noticed between a lot of these guys, to some degree, someone knew that this person was going to do this sort of attack.
The one recently we just had, 2 days ago? Or just
all of these.
Yeah. Oh,
to
yeah.
some degree, I looked into it. I
know you're right.
Did the feds know? Did people know? And sometimes the feds knew.
I couldn't find the feds, but yeah.
The feds were aware of the Buffalo guy. The feds were aware of.
I think the Buffalo, yeah, for sure. But this one, I couldn't find anything on it.
Well,
trust me, I looked.
Well, I'll say that he was texting somebody a week prior to this attack, saying that, "Hey, I'm buying all this ammunition. I'm at the gun store.
Oh,
I'm doing
yeah.
This, I'm doing that.
Yeah.
Then probably an hour before the actual attack,
you're right.
He was texting, I think either the same person or someone else that, hey, I'm gonna shoot my grandmother. I'm gonna shoot up in elementary school. So it leads me to say this, people. If you see something, hear something, please say something.
Yes.
You might be saving many people's lives.
Yes.
I'm gonna tell you a story real quick. My dad called the cops on a cousin of mine in New York. He called from here. He called NYPD on my cousin.
Really?
My cousin was making people in the family feel uncomfortable, making them feel nervous. He was doing things that was erratic. He was acting out a little bit, and at some point they found out that he was keeping weapons in his room. He was keeping knives, throwing stars, something like that. All kinds of like crazy like stuff.
Yeah.
Later on, he gets into an altercation with my cousin. He gets an altercation with my aunt, threatening her, saying, crazy things. A little bit later after that, he purchases a bulletproof vest. When it came to that, my dad was like, "No, this is my family. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? I'm not about to let this dude who no one knows what he's doing in his room, staying in there on the computer all day, who knows who he's talking to, who he's being influenced by, or what his personal agenda is." My dad, being in law enforcement and being around, sketchy people his whole life, he called the police.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of them got upset with him for that. I couldn't understand that. I said, "How are you upset with him? Like, he's looking out for your best interest." But you know what, man? I don't care what anybody says. Sometimes it takes a grown-ass man to do something and act on something before something actually goes down.
Yeah.
And I don't hold anything against him for doing that. Like sometimes that's what it takes.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter how you make that person feel. You hurt their feelings or make them feel further outcasted. Look, man, you're doing things that are making people uncomfortable. We don't know, like a lot of these people here that did these attacks.
Mm-hmm.
What do their families always say? He wasn't a violent person.
Yeah.
I never thought he was gonna do this.
Something. Yeah. All the time.
I'd be damned if my family over there in New York gets obliterated.
Yeah.
And never seen it coming, or actually even worse, pretty much saw it coming and didn't do anything about it.
That would suck, bro. And that's a good thing I think you did. It's before, back in the day, I wouldn't say anything. I was younger and on certain things because, but killing a whole bunch of people and all that shit, like that's something that I don't really condone.
Mm-hmm.
I don't really like being around that shit. So if I see something out of the ordinary, I'm going to say something. And I think that I'm going to have a talk.
Yeah.
Today, this kind of woke me up with a lot of things. And then when I see signs, I'm going to have a talk.
Yeah.
With the big man, who I'm talking about, and be like, "Hey, man, like I'm not trying to pinpoint anything, but I talk to him on occasion, and so."
You think that this is something that you would discuss with your daughter at this age?
She asked me today.
What'd she say?
She said, "Why did I go to school? Why didn't you go to work?" And that's how much it affect me. And plus, I try to do some things on the side.
Yeah.
I couldn't really work with that on my mind.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, I could feel them, of love pouring out of that stage, just like a fucking rainbow, coming to spreading all over the place. Everybody feel this, because they can't go through that by themselves.
Yeah.
I know I couldn't.
It's no way for any parent to live, man. We cannot live in fear, and we should not be fearful that like I don't know what's gonna happen once I drive off. Drop you off, drive off. Parents shouldn't have to deal with that sort of stress in the back of their mind.
I know, and I'm just afraid to even send mine to school, bro. I'm scared, like every day, like shit, and I just be calling you there. You got her, da da da.
Yeah.
So, yeah, bro, it's a bad thing, and it's something that I don't really. What's gonna be next? Cause I know something's gonna be coming. It's Memorial Weekend. I could bet
Right.
you $5 right now, and I just keep it cheap because I know what's gonna happen. That there's gonna be a couple shootings this weekend coming up. At least one, guaranteed.
If you've been listening, you might know by now that I'm like a huge skeptic on a lot of things. And how do we know there's not like certain outside forces pushing these people into doing,
That's what I keep hearing.
How do you know they're not targeted, on these online chat rooms, on the dark parts of the web? I seen a story a couple years back where this guy was like showing suicidal tendencies, and he befriended somebody online. And he was like, I feel like if I killed myself, my family would feel bad for how they treated me. She was texting him, encouraging him to do it. and she's over here calling herself his friend. She got arrested for that shit. Apparently that's illegal, but I mean, what kind of friend are you that you're doing that?
That's crazy, man.
You know what I mean? He actually killed himself. So, how do we know that there's not, outside forces, certain agents going out there and pushing these people all for a political agenda, all for maintaining power in government, you know?
Yeah.
And there's a lot of people that feel that there's a socialist agenda going on. I kind of sense that too, just based off everything, all these events that are taking place.
Mm-hmm.
I'm seeing an attack on our First Amendment, which is our freedom of speech, and there's constantly an effort to repeal the Second Amendment. Those two are very important, especially to a free and open democracy. Without that, democracy can't stand. You know what I mean? Like,
Right.
if you don't have freedom of speech, then you can't express your discernment for socialism. You can't even express your opinion about socialism. You can't be like, hey, I don't want that. If they regulate your speech, they can make it seem like, hey, you know what? People are on board with this.
Mm-hmm.
So the people who don't know what's up, they're uneducated. They're like, you know what? If everybody's on board with it, I'm on board with it too.
That's how it works.
And that's just how things move along.
Mm-hmm.
If you take away the right to bear arms and they try to go around confiscating people's guns, I'll tell you right now, if they ever try to do that,
That's not gonna happen.
there's gonna be a revolt like you've never seen.
Yeah, everyone's gonna just start.
People are gonna start dropping, dying.
Yeah, like a lot too at one time.
Mm-hmm.
We're talking about like you can't even leave a crib type shit, or they might just come by and just who knows.
In a perfect world, man, there wouldn't be guns at all. If the forefathers knew what this gun issue would have turned into, they would have never made guns. But you know what? By nature, we're a violent people. And that's just always how it's been. The reality of it is that there's just many, many firearms out there.
There's too many.
Too
many.
And this government has been complicit in arming the entire world. We've sent out guns everywhere. You know what I mean? Like
guns, rockets, bombs, all that shit, man.
Everything.
Like, I'd rather take all that money and build up here, man. Make this shit more security. Make this shit more, help everybody. Put everybody in good positions so they can generate more money for you. If everybody was okay and everybody had something or a business going on, if they didn't want to work, don't you know how much fucking money our country will put out?
Right.
Because everybody's working full force.
Well, we've seen how much our country has put out money-wise. You know what I mean?
Man, shit's about to...
All that money going to other countries. Look, I understand there's a war going on. But look, there's so much safety issues within our own country that we need to address. You know what I mean? We're letting everybody come through our southern border. Everybody. Even the criminals.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? The drugs are coming through. There was somebody proposed a while back that we have armed guards at every school. Our government said that we don't have the funding for that.
Mm-hmm.
Fast forward to today, they're writing checks left and right.
Exactly.
But not for our own people.
Do you think it'll cost $40 billion to hire security for schools? It's not like they need there's probably a few schools probably in different cities that are big. But as far as across the state and in the U.S., I'm pretty sure it doesn't cost $40 billion. It's probably less than that.
Right.
Way less. We're talking about security.
How is it that we don't have baby formula? How we have a shortage of baby formula in this country? It doesn't make any sense.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's either gross incompetence or intentional. Either way, it's very bad.
Like I said, this country stopped building and just started spending lightly. And these motherfuckers got together and said, you know what? We're going to double or triple this shit. You start a war, this, and that. Now we're going to go hit Taiwan. Now we're going to short them on the food, the baby, all the shit that's coming in. Now they're going to push out billions of dollars to the military. And then others, it just goes. And it's just bigger price. And the gas is expensive. And
right.
It's going to fall apart, bro.
I'm telling you, people out there, when you hear stuff on TV, reserve your judgment before having all the facts. Before you have all the facts, don't jump the gun and start feeling a certain type of way about something. Reserve your judgment, seek the truth, and question everything. You have to, because you know what? We'll fall for anything if we don't, and we'll always be led and led astray and feeling lost because there's conflicting narratives. But if you just sift through all the information, underneath all the BS, there is an underlying truth. The truth always finds its way to the light. And then once you do that, you start seeing who really has our best interests and who doesn't. And I'll tell you right now, a little spoiler alert, a grim one. These major corporations and a lot of these governments, they don't have our best interests. They have their own best interest.
Yep.
That comes in the form of power, money, and greed.
Yep.
So just be aware, people. Be aware and keep your head on the swivel when you're out in public, because you just never know. Dude, just today, right before you got here, I read a student in Richardson, Texas was arrested for having an AK-style pistol and an AR-15 on a high school campus. That just happened today.
Wow.
In Texas, the day after, this dude had high-powered firearms in his possession on a school campus.
What race was he, if you don't mind me? Oh, you read it, right?
You know what? I should have wrote that down.
No, it's okay.
But I didn't. I'm not entirely sure. But
yeah, don't worry about it.
Look, man, when it comes to these laws, we need to enforce the laws that we already have. We need to have better background checks. We probably have, I think it's a decent thing to look into, to raise the age in which you can buy a firearm, because you're right, it takes a certain maturity.
Yes.
There's a lot of states where you can purchase a shotgun or a rifle pre 18 years old.
Yeah. Guaranteed.
It's easier to get a gun than it is to,
You're going to pay only $250 to $1,000 for one of those. The magazines, you're going to pay a few $100s here and there, but that's it, and then you get all the bullets, and that's what they do, bro, is they just think it's a video game, and they're just programmed and their feelings are hurt. They're not like real men. They can't take the abuse, or the growing up. I'm glad my father kicked my ass and my mom beat my ass, and you know what I mean? I went through a tough life of fighting, and because it turned me into something that, like, I could take these sharks out here and these wolves. And that's something that I'm glad, and even if they didn't beat you down, at least they put that respect and that fear, and you knew who they were, and you knew there was a line you couldn't cross, because if you cross that line, you're getting that ass whooped. That's what it was, you know. So they can't take that now.
Look, man, we really need to hold our government, the media, responsible for the perpetuating hate and division. I'm telling you, what it's doing is it's causing people to, they're pitting people against each other.
Yeah.
And
it doesn't matter what race it is now.
Listen, we all live in this country. We should love and protect this country. We should be unified in that we're all Americans. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and I agree with you.
And these politicians need to put their differences aside and actually look out for their people. But the reality of it is, they're just so greedy and they don't care. They want to replace us with technology, and they just don't care. They don't have compassion or love. There's no love, and they're trying to take God out of everything.
Exactly.
Why?
Those people who are in charge of that $1 billion shit, like the lady or the guy said, that they ain't never rode no bus before or drove their own car.
Yeah.
Anything themselves. Everything has been just handed to them. So there's no way that they could feel how we feel. And I agree with that statement, So, but other than that, I mean, I look at it as, if these guys going to do this, I am not going to participate. They are not taking my rights. I'm not fucking with them, period. And, as far as the shooting goes, even though we talked about them, there ain't no excuse at all for them just, like, for him shooting. Even if he was mental, I agree that if you know someone has a problem, you need to go say something and address the situation, because, dude, it's gonna happen, and when it happens, you're gonna be like, "Oh my God, I could have prevented this," and I don't know if you could live with that.
Yeah.
So I don't know, bro. Other than that,
Look,
that's
man.
my take on it. You know.
Our condolences to everybody
Yeah.
out there. Our prayers.
Yes.
It's heartbreaking.
Yes.
When you see your young ones, give them a hug and a kiss and talk to them.
And shout out to you guys too, man. I didn't forget about y'all. You know, if this touched you, comment on how that shooting made you feel. You know, because I'm pretty sure the couple people here have kids, and can you imagine you picking up your kids and you just like
Yeah.
someone comes outside and says, "Oh, that's it. That's all the kids." After the whole night goes through, and there's 12 of you there, or 12 in the family. And you go in to ID your kid, and then when you ID your kid, you can't recognize your kid. Like, dude, and then oh man. But anyway,
Man.
I want you guys to comment and tell me, and it's just really a touchy
Right.
subject for me. I
Also,
appreciate it, and much love. I appreciate me speak on the platform. I love
of
y'all.
course. Hey, and also let us know what you think about our current gun laws and some possible solutions. You know what I mean? We would like to hear what you guys got to say on the matter. It's such a nuanced, hard thing to figure out, and there's no easy answer. But everybody should be able to talk about it and speak their piece. But
Yeah.
I think above all and anything, people need to allow love back into the heart, treat people with love and empathy and understanding, and yeah, man, just this is something that we can't get numb to,
Yep.
you know.
I agree. And shout out to Steve Kerr, man. You the motherfucking man, bro. I got way more respect for you. I don't, I ain't gonna lie. I know your name, but I don't really know how you play.
Right.
So I'm gonna have to go back and look you up just because you got my heart yesterday. Sorry, bro.
Yeah, no. I'm glad you sent that to me. I 100% agree with what you were saying. So, look, we're gonna cut it right there.
Yeah.
We thank you as always for listening, and until next time, everybody. We love y'all, and have a good night.
Stay tuned.
Peace.
Peace.